Okay, so I'm going to have a go at the next top interview question in Leetcode in the arrays section. It's called intersection of two arrays 2. Given two integer arrays, nums1 and nums2, return an array of their intersection. Each element in the result must appear as many times as it shows in both arrays, and you may return the result in any order. So for example, 1221 and 22 should return 22, and 495 and 94984 returns 49, but 94 is also acceptable. Okay, the constraints are the length of the arrays are between 1 and 1000, and the numbers in the array are between 0 and 1000. So I think what it's asking us to do is really just return numbers that appear in both arrays. So let's have a think about how we could do this. Okay, so I think the first thing that I'll do is establish which one is the shortest array out of the two, and then I'll loop through the shortest array. So I'll look at the 4 first, and then I'll loop through the longer array to see if I can find a 4. If I do, I want to add that to my result, but also I want to somehow remove it from this array. So because the numbers are between 0 and 1000, I think I'll set it to -1 there. Then once I've found it, I go to the next value, loop through the array again. This time I'll find the 9, take that out, -1, and add it to our result. And then I'll look at the 5, I'll loop all the way through this array, I won't find it, and that's going to be our answer. Now this is a growing array, so I'm going to use a list for that, an array list, and these can be static arrays. So that's the first way I'm going to look at doing it, and then I'll think of other ways after that. Okay, so these are the two examples. There's 1221 and 22, and there's 495 and 94984. So what I'm doing here, I'm just sending the values to the method here, sending the two arrays to the method, and receiving R1 for result 1 and R2 for result 2, and then I'm looping through those, outputting the value and a space, and then I'm printing a new line afterwards. So hopefully we should see the two answers, the first answer being 22 and the second answer being 49. Okay, so what I'm going to do is say longest if nums1 length is greater than nums2 length. I'm going to have nums1 as the longest, and shortest I'm going to do the same test. They may be equal in length, so I'm going to do the same test. I'm not going to say is less than, I'm the same test. So if this gets nums1, the other one gets nums2, and else it gets the other one. So in other words, the longest one is whichever one of these is got the most values in it, and the shortest is whichever one has the fewest values in. And then I'm going to make a list. This is going to be our result, a list of integers equals new array list. And I'm using a list rather than an array because I don't know how long it is yet, because I'm going to be putting values into there. So now I'm going to loop from each value in the shortest. I'm going to loop from an index to the end of the longest array. I'll say if longest at I equals A, then I want to add it to our result. But I don't want to find it again. So in the case of 1, 2, 2, 1, I don't want to find this 2 a second time. So I'm going to set it to -1. And I'm going to return result to array. I can't just cast it, I'm going to have to make a new result array. And for each index in the result, set R to be the value in our array list, and finally return R. So there's a couple of problems with that, but I think it should work. So R, that should be R at I equals result get I. Okay, so I'm going to test that and see if it works. There's a problem here. Longest I equals -1. Okay, so let's see if that works, and then I'll think about some ways to improve it. 224499. What I need to do is, if I find the value, I need to break out the loop, because I'm looking at that 4 and I'm looking all the way to the end for a match. So if I do find a value, I just need to break out of the loop. There's 2249. So that's solution 1. Let's have a think of a better way of doing it. Okay, so another way of doing it is going to be to sort both of these lists, sort both of these arrays. Right now I can just walk through them both once, but I need to keep an index of what I'm looking at in each array. Now, if I see a different value at the index, I want to increase the value which is smallest, increase the index which is looking at the value which is smallest. If I see the same value, I want to put it in our result array and move them both up. So first we're looking at 4 in each, so I'll put it in our result array and move both indexes up. Then we see a 5 here and a 4 there, so I'm going to move the index at 4 up. Then we're looking at a 5 and an 8, so I'm going to move the 5 up, because it's smaller than 8. Then we're looking at 9 and 8. I'll move the 8 up. Now we're looking at 9 and 9, so we see a value. Put it in our result and move them both up, and we'll stop when either one of our indexes is out of range. Now I do need to sort, but I don't need to establish which one's the longest and which one's the shortest. So let's have a go at that. Okay, so I'm going to do away with the longest and shortest thing. And I'm going to start by sorting nums1 and nums2, and then I'm going to make an index 1 and an index 2. I'm going to say while index 1 is less than nums1.length and index 2 is less than nums2.length. I'm going to get the values out. So value 1 is nums1 at index 1, and value 2 is nums2 at index 2. If value 1 equals value 2, then I'm going to put it in our result array. So I'm going to use the result array from before. Result add value 1 or value 2, they're both the same, and then index 1 plus plus and index 2 plus plus. Now if the values aren't the same, if val 1 is less than val 2, then index 1 plus plus, else index 2 plus plus. And then finally I've just got to do the same, convert the array list to a straightforward array. So let's see if that works. We're looking for 2249. 2249, so that's method 2. Now the thing I really want to do is find a way of doing it that doesn't involve looping, or does it involve either a sort or a loop within a loop. So the first one we were looping through this set for each value in this set, and the second one we were sorting both sets, so neither of those is particularly ideal. So let me think, can I do it by just looping through the sets a short number of times? I think what I can do is make a hash set for each array, and the hash set is going to contain the value and the number of times we've seen the value. So in this case we're going to have 4 that we've seen once, and then 9 that we see once, and then 5 that we see once. I think we only need to do it to one array. Then we can loop through this second array. It doesn't matter which one's which. We'll look and we'll say if this set contains this value and the value is the key, and the value at that key is greater than 0, in other words we've still got one of those numbers, then we'll add it to our array. So in this case, we'll see the 9. We'll look in here, we see we've got 1 in there. We'll remove it by decreasing that by 1, and we'll put it in our result. Then we'll look at the 4. We've got a 4. I'll reduce it by 1, and we'll put the 4 in there. Then we'll see the 9. We'll see that we've had a 9, but it's currently at 0, so we won't count it. Then we'll look at the 8. We won't find it at all. We'll look at the 4. We'll find it, but there's none left, so we'll discard it, and that's our answer. So I think that's the version that I'm going to submit. Is it very efficient? It's reasonably efficient because it just loops through this array to build the set, then it loops through this array to build the result, but then we do have to loop through the result again to turn it back into an array. But we don't know how long this is going to be, but it's still going to be quite efficient because we're just looping through the arrays once. So let's have a go at that. Okay, so I'm not going to sort my numbers, and I don't care which one's the longest and which one's the shortest. I'm just going to loop through our first set of numbers. And I'm going to make a set. The key is the value, and the value in the set is the number of times we see that value. I'll just call this values. So I'm going to say if values contains key, hang on, just need to do, I'm not doing a set, I'm doing a map. Okay, so if value contains key num, then values put num comma values get num plus 1. So if it's already in there, add 1 onto it. Otherwise, just put the value 1 in there. So after that, after running this loop, we should have a count of all our values in our values map. Now, next, I'm going to make the result array list as before, and now I'm going to loop through nums2. And here I'm going to say if values contains key num, if values get num is greater than 0, then I'm going to subtract 1 from the value, and I'm going to put it in our result array. Now if it gets down to 0, I could remove it, but that's not going to speed up the hash map. It's not going to save us memory because we've already used the memory. So I think that's it. And then finally, I just need to convert the array list back to the straight array. Is that it? Okay, let's run it and see if it works. 2294. Okay, so it's swapped over the 4 and the 9. Let's just, that's because I looped through this array. Well, yeah, we were expecting 9-4. So that's my third solution to this, and it's the one that I'm going to submit to Leetcode. Let's see how that does. Okay, so for the runtime, it was amongst the fastest. So it's here somewhere that some people did it faster. For the memory distribution, it's quite bad. So I think it was really a trade-off between memory or runtime. If we didn't want to use any sort of hash set, then we could have used much less memory and done it in the array itself, but I don't think we could have got such a good runtime if we'd have done that. So that's my solution, and 3 different alternatives there. So thanks for watching.